For those of you who didn't see my previous video about jobs, you'll be like, what the hell is going on? The reason I'm wearing this is because, one, I'm a complete nerd, and two, we had a casual clothes day in which you could dress up in blue. So I decided to go as Inky, the Pac-Man ghost. So yeah, and it's kind of sad because there are so many people who are like, what the hell is this? I actually love to keep it on, but I think I might take it off. One, because it's really hard to look through these tiny little slits here. And two, because it's kind of rude of me. One, because you can't see my face. And two, because I'm seemingly looking over there somewhere. Unless I go like this. It's like, ooh, am I looking at you now? Even though I'm looking over there, my eyes are looking there. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, but now I don't feel nerdy enough. Much better. So for those of you who have no idea what the hell's going on, I've gotten into anime recently. I started watching anime a little bit before, and I started when I was 5 actually, but I've watched a bit recently. Then I went to an anime convention, and now I'm just like, manga. Wait, anime. I kind of like manga, but I'm watching more anime than I am reading manga. That was a... Anyway, I've just started, and I want to, I've thought, maybe I should do some reviews. Admittedly, I've thought to do reviews for tons of things. I don't know why I'm specifically gravitating towards anime, but I'm just like, might as well. I've got an anime club, so then I can be like, yeah, look, I'm reviewing, I'm supporting the... Not really, but I want to do it. I want to do my own thing. Hopefully I'll do this fairly regularly. It takes me a good chunk of time to watch an anime anyway, because I only watch a few episodes a day, if that. It's so funny. I've got a friend in the anime club who's just like, I can't watch less than 10 episodes. And I'm like, whoa, crazy. Just slow down for a bit. But anyway, today I wanted to do my first review. I want to do it, post them in the order. Oh my god, I look so gay just like holding. It's like, oh my god, I got my makeup brush. I want to do it in sequential order, so I want to start with Death Note. Now, Death Note is the first one I have essentially watched after my long anime hiatus, or whatever the hell you want to call it. It was actually the only one that I watched previous to going to Manifest. And that's actually how I ended up getting my Light Yagami cosplay, because I started reading the Death Note manga, because I was just like, oh, well, I've heard of Death Note, I know a little bit. It's like, ooh, I wonder if it's actually going to be interesting. I was like, oh my god, this is so awesome. So I read the first Black Edition, which is like the first three volumes, and then I watched the anime. And I might read a bit more of the manga when it becomes available to me. But I watched it and reviewed. So the story it starts off kind of weird. Admittedly, I knew a little bit of the story just from like parodies and stuff, but it essentially works that it starts off in the Shinigami realm. The Shinigami realm. They are the Shinigamis, and one of them, Ryuk, drops his Death Note. If you don't know what a Death Note is, it's a notebook that if you write the name of someone into the notebook, they die. If you have their face in mind. And there's a bunch of other rules. I actually looked up how many rules there are, because I wanted to make my own Death Note with all the rules. There are 60 pages. It's really long. Admittedly, quite a lot of it isn't used. For example, I think one rule is like, you can't kill people under 2 years old. And there aren't really any 2-year-olds in the plot, or at least in the major plot, I should say. Essentially, after Ryuk drops his Death Note, a young man by the name of Light Yagami, don't know why he's a one-up mushroom, finds the note and says, I'm really bored, and I want to be the god of the new world, and I want to cleanse the world of all evil. And of course, when you have an unstable teenager who wants to rid the world of violence and crime, and you've got a supernatural weapon which allows you to kill people without having to actually get blood on your hands, That's a match made in hell. Of course, using his signature cause of death, he kills off tons of murderers, drug dealers, sexual assaulters, prisoners, using heart attacks, so he gives them all heart attacks. And the point of this, as previously stated, is he wants people to go, hey, there's a guy who's going to strike down bad people. Maybe we should play nice. And essentially, the whole plot of the story is Light killing all these people, and the police and the individual detectives, which, I love the detectives, like try and track him down and try and stop him, try and kill him, try and interrogate him, try and imprison him, try and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the story, I think I really want to start off by saying, as I said previously, this is my first anime, and I've kind of thought from seeing parodies, from seeing some of the really weird kind of clips that you can see in animes, that I was really surprised with how, I don't know, how normal, I guess, the plot was. And I guess when it comes down to it, you've got stuff like, you've got Shinigami, and you've got Death Notes, and you've got the Shinigami realm, and you've got looking through the Shinigami realm, and you've got Death Note rules and stuff. But when it comes down to it, it is not about just the book. It's not about the fact that you can kill people by writing their names in. Obviously that's the basis of it. But it is all about a battle of wits, battle of the mind. The one criticism that I have to really say for this story, and probably I'll say it's a minor criticism. The problem that I have is that there are two main problems. The first one is that it's choppy at times. And I know there are some people who'll be like, it's supposed to be choppy, blah, blah. I actually talked to my friends and they were just like, life's choppy, and I was like, okay, that's a reasonable excuse, isn't it? And I think the reason that I find it so choppy is there are quite a lot of parts are really fluid. But other parts are just because I mean, I can, like, pretty much all the other shows that I've watched, the other 4 shows, I mean, I know that technically speaking it jumps from one point to another. But the way, I think in some ways you have, it's fluid in some places and not fluid in others, and it just makes it feel really stiff at times, and that stuff just pisses me off. It just, I mean, there are tons of other things that I could probably cite, but that's just, like, that's one of the main ones. It just makes me think, oh my god, it's not even that it's choppy. Half the time it's just everything happens way too quickly. And the other complaint that I have is that while for the most part it's very interesting, and while for the most part there's lots of plans, and there's lots of scheming, and there's like, ooh, is it him? And ooh, is it him? Maybe that and lots of, like, they don't even have battles. Like, they just have sequences at times where they just focus on one person and they do like the mind speak thing where they have that, don't have their mouth move. It's like, he's trying to school with me. And I find that very interesting. But if nothing else, in the second part, it was, I don't even know how to explain it, but it was, I think I'd explain it as viscous, if you know what I mean. Like, there are some things that are nice and light, like kind of like Auron and stuff, where you can just watch it and watch it and watch it, and there are other ones where I was actually watching it and I was like, I need to watch this before Manifest, and I wasn't forcing myself, but I was just like, ugh. And I actually got to the point where I watched 4 episodes on the last day, and it wasn't, I didn't even feel like it was because I wanted to. I felt more like I was doing it because I wanted to get it over with. And that's never a good sign. Anyway, moving from the negatives of the story to the positives of the anime as a whole, we're going to talk about characters. Characters are so awesome in this anime. So I'm going to go through them. So we've got Light, obviously. He is the main guy. He's a good character because he is so two-faced. Because we see both sides of him. Because we see the model student, like the good side, and that's kind of what his appearance is, and we also see his dark side, like his, I'm gonna kill everyone, I'm gonna be of the free world, because essentially he looks like such a nice guy and actually uses that to manipulate people, but he's actually pretty much a sociopath. Next we have L, this guy. He is such a good character. I absolutely love him. There is something so, I don't know, he's very casual, he's very laid back. He almost makes me think of kind of like almost like a creature, the way that he sits like really uncomfortably, like, and he walks very, with a massive slouch to the point where he's almost walking on his hands. Okay, maybe that's a bit melodramatic, that's exaggerating it so much, but there is something just kind of creepy about the way that he looks, and I think that's also a really good way that this works, because not only do we have Light, who seems very nice and stuff, but he's a complete bastard, but you've got L, who looks so disheveled almost. He's awesome. He's an awesome character, but he looks disheveled, and also he doesn't manipulate people, but he is so untrusting that he's willing to. He like deceives people and he screws with them and stuff like that, and that kind of makes him like, oh, I don't like you. But the thing is, unlike Light, he's doing it for a good purpose. It's just the ends justify the means. Not really. Some of the other detectives are also pretty good. We've got Nia, who is essentially like this. If you take all the dark stuff out, so if you bleach his hair, give him, wait, did he have white pants? Probably did. And it's him, and he's younger, so it basically looks like this, but a lot more sickly. And I think it's kind of interesting, because I don't always, but if I see someone that's completely white, like in every way including hair, I kind of think evil, because I think it's just so kind of sterile and kind of creepy. Misa Armani, also kind of good character, pretty much the only female character, or at least the main female. There are a couple of females. There are Misa, that thief chick, and then you've got like a couple of their mothers and stuff. Otherwise that's pretty much it. You've got a couple of other police officers involved, but I don't think they really play anything major. Matsuda's an idiot. Chief Yagami, it makes it interesting in terms of the whole Yagami wanting to kill everyone thing. Finally, the presentation. Presentation is kind of sad. I actually don't really have tons to talk about, because I don't really pay attention to art and music as much. I definitely think it's very good in terms of the idea of morality behind it, because it kind of makes me think of almost in a "and then there were none" kind of way. If you've ever read that, it's just like about a guy killing off people who allegedly killed. It kind of raises questions like, oh, should we allow execution and stuff? Because obviously it's portrayed in the killer being in a negative light. Like, he is the protagonist, but he ends up going crazy and doing mwahaha, evil laugh, except it's arguably creepier because he's just so like, yeah, I'm so happy kind of thing. I also have to say that the characters are portrayed well. As I said, with the character thing, I really like the opposition of Light being kind of like the normal one, and then you've got L, he's a little bit crazy, he likes cake. It's like, he's so crazy that he likes cake. Not like that. You have to watch it. Same thing with Nia and Dice, and also they look kind of creepy with just the way that, especially their eyes. L's eyes are awesome, but kind of like ugh, because they're kind of like cloudy. You don't have any pupils or any reflections. I was like, ugh. And now we come to the overall score, the final verdict. And my final verdict, I think I'd probably give it 4 stars. The reason is, and I'll be perfectly honest, that's kind of harsh for me. I love giving out 5 stars if I really like something. I essentially say, if I love it, it's 5 stars, regardless of whether it's perfect or whatever. But the problem is, the storyline just became, it didn't become terrible, but it's the kind of thing that, like, I enjoyed it to a point, and then it became something like, I want to finish it. Not necessarily like, oh, I want to see what happens. It's more like, I want to finish it. Because, I mean, I knew where it was going anyway. And I mean, like, the ending, I'm not going to tell you what the ending is, but I mean, it's the kind of ending that, yeah, it wasn't really a surprise at all. It was just like, well, duh. So, that's pretty much all I can say on it, I guess. Anyway, bye. Yeah, yeah. I'll eat your turkey sandwich, soul.